here at the Richmond International Raceway. Count them, five NASCAR Busch Series wins in 21 starts. So tonight, any Nextel Cup reconnaissance or all about winning again in the Busch Series?
We're just going to go out here and race for it, you know, and see what we can do. Pennzoil car is pretty good here, and we came up and spent a little time on the racetrack about a week ago, and we'll see how it does on the long run. You know, we didn't get much practice, so we're not absolutely sure. Some of these guys are faster than we are, but I don't know if they could stay faster.
Now, you just had a full 90 laps of final practice in your Cup car. Did that help you at all for this car, do you think?
No, not at all. No, it's not relating right now. We're out here doing the best we can, but right now that's, you know, that thought process is just not working. The Busch car and the Cup car are kind of separate this weekend.
But it does prove once again Mark Martin knows his way around Richmond, as he always does. Matt?
Back in May, Kyle Busch dominated here in Richmond, leading 236 of 250 laps. You brought back the same car. Now, you gave back some points last week at Fontana to Truex. Is this one of those places where you have to capitalize and get yourself back rolling again?
Well, we definitely have to. You know, we got to be able to complete the 250 laps due to the fact that Lowe's is donating $50 for every lap we complete tonight to the American Red Cross for Racing and Relief. I'm going to splurt it out here in a minute, but I just want to say real quick all the thanks and prayers that go out to all the people in Florida and also all the Lowe's guys that are keeping those stores open to help out the other Floridians out there.
Floridians. Now, these guys have dominated on the short tracks. Their average finish this year with 2 wins is 2.0. Marty?
Matt, just under 2 hours of practice for the Busch Series yesterday, and that was all for practice, but Martin Truex Jr.'s team tested here, so a little amount of practice for everybody else. Is that an advantage for you?
Well, I'm not sure. I hope it is. We tested during the day, we raced tonight, so we'll see. But the car was really good yesterday in practice. I was real happy with it in race runs, and who knows what the night will bring. We'll just have to see what happens when we make it to the end, and I think we'll have a good enough car to win, hopefully.
Championship leader by 95 points over Kyle Busch, Bill.
Thanks, Marty. Tonight it's 250 laps for the Busch Series on the 3/4 mile track in Richmond, Virginia. It's a race that always has plenty of punch. Keep watching. You'll see what we mean. We'll take you trackside for the pre-race ceremonies where NASCAR on TNT continues in a moment. TNT Sports welcomes you to the Richmond International Raceway in Virginia for NASCAR Busch Series racing presented by Advil. 43 drivers getting ready for 250 laps, all trying to join an impressive list of Busch race winners at Richmond. Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Dale Earnhardt Sr., Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, Michael Waltrip, Dale Jarrett, and many more past winners of this race. One more name will be added to that impressive list tonight. Now, let's take you trackside here at the Richmond International Raceway and join this evening's pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise and remove your hats as the U.S. Coast Guard Honor Guard out of Alexandria, Virginia present our nation's colors. And now, please welcome Pastor Chris Fowler from Mechanicsville Baptist Church as he delivers tonight's invocation.
God, we are grateful for the beautiful evening that you've given us as we experience the thrill of this competition. Protect the drivers, their crews, and the fans alike. Give the drivers wisdom and clarity as they make their decisions. God, we want to remember our service men and women. Bless them, Lord. Father, may we seek your purpose each day. We pray in Christ's name. Amen.
And now, would you please remain standing and welcome Warner Brothers recording artist Big and Rich as they sing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous
Michael Waltrip won here in February of 1990. He starts 20th. David Green is 5th in points, 21st on the grid, and hunting for his first win at Richmond.
NASCAR Busch Series Racing from Richmond, presented by Advil on TNT, is brought to you by Advil Liquid Gels. They rush relief where it hurts. Advil Liquid Gels, liquid fast. By Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Busch, the proud sponsor of the NASCAR Busch Series. By Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, improving home improvement. And by Trim Spa X32, your Dream Body Diet Pill. Trim Spa, BNV.
Tonight, 250 laps for the Busch Series. Tomorrow, it's the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. And our live TNT coverage begins at 7 o'clock Eastern Time with the Discover Card Countdown to Green. We will set the stage, and you'll hear from all the drivers still scrambling for those final spots in the chase to the championship. Dave discovers how the points break down, and Wally discusses the different driving styles it will take to make the cut. It will be one wild night, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Our coverage begins with the Discover Card Countdown to Green, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on TNT. And remember, you miss the countdown, you start the race a lap down. Now it's time to get it back upstairs to three guys that know all about making the cut. Whether it's in the middle of traffic or the food line in the compound or the credential line, they're always cutting in front of you. Alan, Wally, and Benny.
All right, Bill, thanks. This racetrack at Richmond was repaved prior to the start of the 2004 season. In the May Busch Series race here, we saw 11 caution flags. BP, what about tonight? Going to be a wreck fest?
Well, you know, all the practice so far has been on the very bottom of the racetrack. They've got to get that groove wide enough. They've got to move up the racetrack. If they don't, we're going to see a bunch of crashes. We're going to see a bunch of cars fighting for all that same spot on the bottom. Got to get the groove wide enough. Otherwise, yes, a lot of crashes.
And a lot of sparks flying. And Wally, we saw one driver lead 236 of 250 laps back here in May. What about tonight?
Well, like Benny said, we'll see the same exact thing if they have a single group. But if they can get the racetrack worked up, no, we're going to see a lot of lead changes and we're going to see a great race. So it really depends. They've been complaining about a really slick racetrack, but if they can get two grooves, it'll be great.
I think strategy could be a big in deciding who wins tonight's race. This race is 250 laps long, but they can run better than half of it on fuel. On the other hand, how do the tires play out? Is this going to be a 1, 2, maybe 3 pit stop race?
I don't think so. I think maybe 1, maybe 2 pit stops, but some of these teams will try to make it on 1 pit stop because the tires are just simply not wearing at all. They're just that hard.
So we'll see how the strategy plays out. We'll see who's able to master it successfully and get up front and stay up front as we get into the final laps later on tonight. Great crowd on hand here to see the NASCAR Busch Series in Richmond. Right now they're waiting for those 4 famous words. Let's go trackside and get this thing started.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, with the most famous words in motorsports, here's our Grand Marshal, John Rabb.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Fans love the action this 3/4 mile track puts out. We love it too. Stay with us. We'll see what kind of wildness erupts tonight here in Virginia's capital city. Beautiful September evening in Virginia's capital city, and another record crowd expected here at Richmond International Raceway for the NASCAR Busch Series as they get set to run 250 laps on this 3/4 mile track. Our Castrol GTX starting lineup for tonight's race: Casey Kane on the pole, his first Busch Series pole of 2004, trying for his first win of the year, and alongside championship contender Kyle Busch. He was the guy that led all but 14 laps here back in May.
In row 2, Robbie Gordon, Ashton Lewis Jr., both with their best qualifying positions of the year.
And Kevin Harvick in row 3, former Richmond winner. Mike Bliss driving for Joe Gibbs, also in row 3.
Back in the inside of row 4, NASCAR Busch Series points leader Martin Truex Jr. alongside Stacy Compton.
Casey Atwood with a good run here earlier this year, and Paul Menard, his first top 10 start in the DEI car.
Ted Musgrave out inside of row 6 won the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here on Wednesday, or last night, I should say Thursday.
5-time Richmond Busch Series winner Mark Martin going to come from row 7. Last week's winner Greg Biffle in California from row 8. And Johnny Sauter, the defending champion of this race. He started 30th a year ago. He's only 18th this time.
Michael Waltrip on the outside of row 10 alongside David Strimmy. David Green will be doing double duty.
There's Kenny Wallace, 3-time Richmond Busch Series winner in row 13. And Ron Hornaday, disappointing qualifying for them, way back in row 15. as you look at the rest of the starting lineup for tonight's race. Derek Hope back in row 21, and rounding out the field, former series champion Steve Grissom. Huge field of cars tried to get into this race. 54 cars for the 43 starting spots. And we're a couple of laps away from the green flag to pit road. Marty?
Before the race, I asked Casey Kane who he had to beat to win this race, Alan. He said Kyle Busch and Robbie Gordon. Robbie said he agrees with that statement. His car is excellent with his best ever Busch Series start, hoping to get his first ever Busch Series win. Dave?
And that Robbie Gordon car, certainly his best start here tonight, equaling what he's done in his past career, third. He's racing a car that has raced this season 11 times. It should be good, Alan.
Base car's off, 250 laps around this 3/4 mile track. And we're set to go on a Friday night in Richmond. See how that outside lane is in turn 1. Kyle Busch isn't having any trouble trying that outside lane in the 5.
Oh, he tried to use it. He tried to take the lead off Kane. Could not quite make it. He's hanging out there pretty good.
Oh, look. Robbie Gordon with a big slide.
Oh, trouble turn 4. Aaron Fike has spun and been collected by Gus Wasson. Fike in the 43, Wasson in the 10. Aaron Fike, the 21-year-old out of Galesburg, Illinois. In just his 6th NASCAR Busch Series start. It doesn't last long.
It looks like he just lost it, BP. Looks like the 43 car of Aaron Fike just got loose up there on the high side.
He did, and poor Gus Wasson, the 10 car, had nowhere to go except in the side of the 43 car.
Our Advil onboard camera.
There's a great shot. Gets up high, just gets a little bit loose. Oh, wow. And that's really a lot loose.
And we talked about the high groove, and it didn't work. Obviously, still not working too well.
Big troubles for Gus Wasson, the Bloomdale, Ohio driver who piled into Fike's spinning car. High-definition production of today's telecast brought to you by New Line Cinemas Cellular, now in theaters. If you have HD TV at home, you're going to get some spectacular pictures from Richmond here this weekend.
I do. It ain't going to do me a whole lot of good, is it?
You're watching it here. You get it even better. It's first caution in tonight's Emerson Radio 250 for the NASCAR Busch Series here in Richmond. Caution came out just a couple laps into the race when Aaron Fike spun around in turn 4 and collected by Gus Wasson. Kyle Busch falling into line 2nd after trying to get the lead in that outside lane in the opening couple of laps.
Hey, bud, I know you want to get those 5 points, but let's not run her too hard to try to get them, all right? Let's don't lose the battle here.
Yeah, I was just trying to see what the outside lane was going to be like. I figured if I could get down, I'd get down, but I just kind of stayed up there. It's all good.
It's all good. Settles into line 2nd behind Casey Kane, and they've got a big cleanup in turn 4. We'll be back to Richmond. Lap away from going back green here at Richmond International Raceway. NASCAR Busch Series Racing presented by Advil on TNT. Wally and Benny's favorite part of the show.
Come on, put us up there.
There you go.
Where we put their picture on screen. If you've got a question you'd like to ask Wally and Benny.
Anything personal about Alan you'd like to know, just write in and I'll answer it.
NASCAR.com, click on that picture. You may be surprised what comes up.
Just don't shoot that picture.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Going back racing. Casey Kane, the leader. Kyle Busch, 2nd. Robbie Gordon, 3rd. Ashton Lewis, 4th.
Flag, green flag.
Kevin Harvick is 5th. Then you've got
not for long.
Then you've got Martin Truex and Mike Bliss and Paul Menard, Stacy Compton, and Casey Atwood. Harvick in the 21, looking for 4th place on Ashton Lewis.
Ashton held him off.
This is Ashton Lewis. This is home. That young man in that 46 car is going to drive as hard as he possibly can to stay up front. And you're Harvick about to lose a spot to Martin Truex in that 8 car.
Truex trying to get 5th place away from Harvick in the 21. And looks kind of slippery right now. Looks a little slippery. adventure, that neon car. It's Kevin Harvick trying to hang on to 5th for now. Marty?
I talked to Kevin right before he got in the car, Alan. He said the car was terrific yesterday in practice, but he made the point that today the track has really changed. There's been a race since these guys last practiced, and much of the cup practice has happened, so the track is much different now than it was yesterday. A lot of wiggling there, huh, Wally?
Yes,
Matt?
sir. And to see Martin Truex work the inside of the 21 of Harvick, and then he gets...
Trouble, front stretch, Jason Keller into the wall, up and back through traffic.
It looked like Jason was...
Just sit tight right there. See if you can gather it up and take off, buddy.
Got some work to do. Even if he does get taken off,
32
a lot of
just turn
damage.
you around, buddy.
Let's see if we can see what happened. That is David Stremme behind Keller. Johnny Sauter to his outside.
Oh, Stremme just gets right in the back of
Yeah, but Keller got loose. Keller got loose when he was drifting up next to Sauter, and it looked like Keller had to backpedal a little bit, and then Stremme got into the backup.
And the 41 car, Brian Sockwell, spun down into the grass.
Trying to avoid it.
Jason Keller with some damage to the front of his Ford. As we ride on board with him, second caution is out here in Richmond. I'm okay, I'm okay. Oh, I'm not okay. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. We have seen a lot of cautions in the early going here at Richmond tonight. Pace car out once again after Jason Keller turned around off of turn 4 and popped the outside wall shy of the flag stand.
Here's a start from Stremme. Watch the 22, just gets a little bit loose.
Keep digging, come on. Caution's out.
He got loose there.
So he got loose right in front of the car, so that's, here's on board the 22. Listen carefully.
Still there, 32's right behind you.
He just pulled off. He pulled off the throttle just a little bit when the car was getting loose, and Stremme got in the back of him.
And Jason Keller has gone back to the garage. He's with Marty.
And he had to watch those replays. Jason, what happened?
I just got up under the 27 car there, and I got a little loose, and guy behind me was real aggressive and got in the back of me. But man, what a tough couple of months for this Miller High Life team. The qualified badge would have put us back there, unfortunately, but I had a good race car and was passing a couple of cars, but you know, tough break. Tell Devin and the kids I'm okay, but we got to get out of this slump somehow. We'll get it pretty soon.
This is highly disappointing for Jason Richmond. One of his best tracks, finished 6th here in May, Alan.
Look at the lower corner of the front fender, left front fender on that 8 car for Martin Truex Jr., the championship leader.
Yeah, because he has made contact with the 20 car of Mike Bliss. They go in turn 3 and Bliss gets loose. And as I said, 8 tires is better than 4.
Now this was going on just ahead of Jason Keller while that wreck was happening. So Truex with some damage to the lower left front on his car. You saw the caution light on there when that camera swung around to follow those cars off of turn 2. So you see Truex back up behind Mike Bliss. That's where he was when the caution came out. But that damage, we'll see how it might affect the handling on that Chevrolet.
It affected a little bit, but they could pull that out during the pit stop.
Flag, green flag.
Brian Sockwell, the orange car, to the inside of the leaders, trying to get a lap back. Casey Kane challenged by Kyle Busch for the top spot. The real logjam in behind them.
It looks like Kyle Busch has a run on the inside of Kane. He's going to have that preferred line in the corner. Now is Casey going to try that outside line, see if he can get it to work.
No, Casey Kane try the outside line.
Kyle Busch. No, Casey try the outside line? Oh yeah, he will, I think.
Remember, Kyle's second in the championship. If he leads a lap, he gets 5 bonus points toward that title. John Stoddard
can't do it.
Well, Robbie Gordon in the 3rd place, that 55 car, he has his hands full, doesn't he?
Yes, sir. Ashley Lewis underneath.
Ashley Lewis from Chesapeake, Virginia. Solidly in 4th place. Great qualifying run for Lewis yesterday afternoon. Matt Yoakum, what do you got?
Well, Casey Kane fending off the 5 of Kyle Busch, telling his crew chief Paul Andrews the car's a little free on entry and free off, but that's exactly the way I like it. He did make one comment that he was hitting the rev chip early on entry into turn 1.
Check this race out for 6th and 7th. Kevin Harvick has passed Martin Truex to pick up 6th place. Truex hanging with him, trying to put some return pressure back. Right behind them, 25 is Mike McLaughlin.
Whoa, hang on. And the 14, Casey Atwood almost lost it in the corner. Hey, Matt, has Truex said anything to his crew about the contact?
Well, he did make a few comments, Benny, but Bono Mannion, his crew chief, was trying to calm him down. Like you guys mentioned, they'll pull out that fender on their first pit stop, but this team really feels like they dodged a bullet. Back in the spring, he was caught up in an incident with the 4 car, Mike Wallace, the last car to leave that, fought back all night long to finish a hard-fought top 10 finish in 7th, but they are running 6th right now. The car a little free.
All right, so that's the update on the championship leader, Martin Truex. Right behind him, Mike McLaughlin in the 25. Mike has been named to drive that car for the rest of this season for the Rentsies and Team Marines.
And I'm seeing something that I really like in this 38 car. Watch when he goes in the corner, how high he moves up the racetrack. He's not on the bottom. He's moving up the racetrack. He's getting the racetrack widened out. I think it's going to be okay.
So all that fighting over that one lane at the bottom may go away. What's your forecasting?
That's what I'm hoping for. In 3 and 4, he's still running a little bit low, but down in 1 and 2, he's moved high on the racetrack.
A lot of guys are having trouble in 3 and 4 when they try to move up high. A couple laps ago, Mark Martin went for a pretty good slide up there. He was up on the high groove, so I don't think they have the rubber down quite enough in 3 and 4. Work it in a little bit slower.
Casey Atwood in the 14 trying to regain a couple of those positions he lost with his bobble up the hill in turn 2. Working on Jason Leffler in the 00. That'll be for 9th place. Leffler has been so strong in that 00 car across the run of the summer. Last 16 races, he's got 11 top 10s, and his worst finish has been 17th in the last 17 races.
That's pretty strong.
He has moved up from 10th to 3rd in the championship standings. Unfortunately for Leffler, he's 448 points behind Truex and probably not in any kind of striking distance to put a bid at the title. It looks like it's going to be a 2-man race for this Busch Series championship. Unlike the Nextel Cup Series, where they're using the new Chase to the Cup system, still doing it the previous way in the Busch Series.
You got to think they're going to go that way here next year, don't you?
That would be my guess, that all 3 of the major touring series are going to have the new point system that's being used in NASCAR and Nextel Cup this year. Matt, you have an opinion?
BP, that's exactly what Jason Leffler was telling me yesterday. He wishes they had the Cup Championship point system over here because he feels like since summer, like Alan mentioned, they have really hit their stride. He and Woody Barker, the chemistry is excellent. And if I'm a Nextel Cup owner, looking at the way this kid has rebounded, coming back to Busch, I'm putting him on my list if I have an open seat, putting him in a Cup car next year. He is really coming to his own.
Losing one spot there to Casey Atwood as he goes by in the 14 car. Atwood in that 14 having one of his better runs of the summer, while Casey Kane is out in front. He has led all 34 laps so far tonight here at the Richmond International Raceway. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Yeah, right now.
Michael Waltrip in trouble. As the caution flag is out, he has tangled with the 72 of John Graham to bring out the caution flag here at Richmond.
You see the right front tire slap. That's why he had to pit so suddenly. Get in and get that tire off.
I've got a pit or I'll tear my car up, Andy. Yeah, it's tore up pretty good already here.
It's Andy Petrie, who's now hired on as a consultant to help Michael Waltrip's NASCAR Busch Series team regain its stride.
John Graham, the 72 car, just lost control right in front of Michael. Michael had no place to go except on the side. Is this Kenny Wallace?
Got speed in front of you. Oh. Stay low here, stay low.
Our camera about got hit.
Yes, it did.
was Mark McFarland that was right behind Michael.
I'm not sure Mark didn't push him. Yeah, Mark. I thought Mark may have got to the back of Michael.
So big troubles for Waltrip, who has kind of had a summer to forget where his NASCAR Busch Series racing has been concerned. Out of the top 10, the last 10 races that he's run, we can probably count on that being 11 tonight. We'll see. So caution flag is out for the third time in just 40 laps of racing. Michael Waltrip and John Graham in trouble down in turn 2. TNT Sports back live at Richmond International Raceway. The NASCAR Busch Series race under caution for a third time after Michael Waltrip and John Graham tangled in turn 2. Our Stacker 2 NASCAR Busch Series track back. Harry Gant and Mark Martin lead all drivers with 4 wins on Richmond's 3/4 mile track. You heard us earlier say Mark has 5 Richmond wins. Well, that's because he won one on the old half-mile fairgrounds layout as well. In the NASCAR Busch Series, the only driver to win on the old half-mile and this present 3/4 mile layout. He doubled his fun.
Yes, he did. Kenny Wallace, still can't get over how close he came. He and Ted Musgrave both in that E6 car to being involved in that crash with Michael Waltrip. And we didn't report that Mark Martin was involved. That's some damage to the front of the number 9 car.
But did not pit.
Nope.
I think he got it all on the hood. Yeah, right there. Michael was up on the brakes where the car went up, and Mark slid underneath it. It didn't look like he did any damage to the grill or anything.
That's what I was just thinking. He got it above the grill opening, so that's good news for Mark. Mark runs in 16th place right now. Pit stops under this caution. 18th place Ted Musgrave was the first of the drivers to pit. Had about a dozen of them that stopped from there on back. Still cleaning up here at Richmond. Let's take advantage of the extended caution to squeeze in another break. Pace cars off. We're getting set to go back. Green flag racing at Richmond. Casey Kane is the leader.
Bumper. Here he comes. He's going to try to take a look for the lead.
Not yet.
This could be.
This is where it's tough right here. You get on the throttle. You want to slide up the racetrack, but the 38 car is there.
Kyle Busch looking for 5 bonus points as he tries to catch Martin Truex for the NASCAR Busch Series Championship. Not that lap. Kane still leads.
38 cars looking good, man.
He is still working that high side, BP. He told Paul Andrews under the caution the car is still loose in and loose off. He did try to move around and find a better line to help the race car, but he said it really didn't help. One note, he said, Paul, please remind me, write it down. I need to make a throttle pedal adjustment on my 9 Cup car for tomorrow night. Already looking ahead to tomorrow night's Next Cup race, Marty.
Kyle Busch looking forward just to trying to get some points tonight, Matt, and is not going to get the lead here. Trying to get those 5 bonus points, now falling back to the 3rd position. Says his car just needs more overall grip. Robbie Gordon, the man who just passed him earlier, came on the radio, told his team that 5 car will be the best car in the long runs. He looks pretty good to me.
So Kyle Busch dropping back to the number 3 position as Robbie Gordon has worked around him. Michael Waltrip update briefly while we watch this race for the top spot. Michael did lose a lap getting repairs made to his car, but he's back on track in 34th place. Mike Bliss closing in on Kyle Busch to try and challenge him for 3rd spot. And here's a double wide for 5th, 6th, on back. Harvick takes 5th from Ashton Lewis. Here comes Truex through in the 8th.
There's a little contact there, almost.
Looks like the 8 car of Truex got in the corner just a little bit too hard. Had to move up the racetrack. Unfortunately, the 46 car was there and made contact, but never so slight.
McLaughlin in the 25 for the work on Lewis.
So the Ashton Lewis in the 46 car, if he could have seen the 38 and the 55, how well they run on the outside, he probably would not be as tentative as he is out there now.
about the 46 car, Matt?
But AB, he's hung up there, and the car has been free most of the night. It started out free just on entry. It was pretty good elsewhere, but now it's free on entry, free in the center, and especially free up off the corner.
Free, free, free. A word for loose. A back end that wants to pass the front end when you turn left.
McLaughlin takes a 25 car by, and here's Casey Atwood in that 14.
That's the problem. Ashton needs to get that car down because they've got a whole string of them.
Oh, had one go up exploring the outer reaches of turn 2, Stanton Barrett. Looks like he's checking to get all the junk off his tires, got up into the marbles and all the rest.
Well, here's that string of cars that are lined up, ready to go underneath the 46 and by.
Casey Atwood in the 14, the Navy cars through to 8th place. Here comes Jason Leffler in the 00. 14 cars.
Oh, trouble there.
What happens is you go in turn 3 so hard trying to race somebody, the car slides up, and that's exactly what happened.
All right, Dave, you wanted to talk about Casey Atwood.
Yeah, and he wanted to get out of that mess, didn't he? As they still get pretty close out there coming off 2. Atwood says, I'm kind of searching for a line here. The car's a little bit loose in, but he's really looking around the track for where that 14 car can work best.
I'll tell you what, after he got by this mess, look at the gap he's already put. He's left Ashton Lewis and the rest of that group.
Tell you what, this 14 car, Casey Atwood, is looking good.
Finished 14th here in May. He's carrying a decal on the hood of that car commemorating the USS Cole, the ship over in Yemen where a terrorist attack killed 17 sailors back in October of 2000.
And now Kyle Busch, it looks like Robbie Gordon, the 55 car, he got by him, but it looks like he may be holding him up just a little bit. Marty, what's Robbie Gordon said on the 55 car?
Chassis-wise, fairly happy. BP neutral getting into the corner, just a little bit tied off. They're going to make a track bar adjustment when they do stop. The one thing he does not like, the gear in the car. So just not enough gear. Can't get up off the corners like I'd like. I just see Kyle Busch kind of catch him as they come off the corner. Robbie puts distance on them the further they go down the straightaway.
Well, it looks like Kyle Busch is getting through the center of the corner a little bit better, getting on the throttle earlier. Looks like he's going to take a look under the 55 here. Right here, right through the center is where he's been better than the 55 car, but Robbie's got the outside line working for him there.
When you don't have the whole racetrack, it's so difficult to go charging down in the corner because if you do drift up about a foot, you're going to run in the side of the 55 car. And when he gets in a wreck, you may get into yourself.
Yeah, it's funny. You heard the report on the gear on the 5 car. I talked with Lance McGrew, the crew chief for Kyle Busch earlier today. He said their car is exactly set up the way that the one that led 236 of the 250 laps here in the spring, but he was debating that gear. He wasn't sure because the weather's different this time of year. The track conditions are different this time of year than it was back in May. Pavement's a little more worn. It's had the summer's worth of heat on it here in Richmond. He just wasn't sure whether to change that or not. And once the race starts, it's too late. So Kyle Busch falling back from racing for the lead with Casey Kane. His good news, though, he's still ahead of his title rival, Martin Truex Jr. NASCAR Racing from Richmond, presented by Advil on TNT, is brought to you by Advil Liquid Gels. They rush liquid relief where it hurts. Advil Liquid Gels, liquid fast. By Bombardier ATVs. See the Outlander Max made for 1 or 2 riders. Bombardier ATV, follow no one. By Miller High Life, to live simply, proudly, boldly, manly. This is the High Life. And by Autolite Spark Plugs. It's time to change your plugs. Casey Kane is plugging away here at Richmond International Raceway. 71 of 250 laps complete, and Kane is the only leader this race has seen so far. He's up by 2 7/10 seconds on the new second-place runner, Kyle Busch. Let's go through the field and start with our leader and Matt.
The last time we checked in on the third day, we told you he was loose in and loose off. Paul Andrews did make one comment under the last caution. He told Casey, the brakes are blowing a little too much. Casey said, I'm not using them as much as you would think. I'm trying to lift early, Marty.
Matt Kyle Busch started second, currently in second as you look from the roof of his car. A little more overall grip he would like and a little more turnability in turn 2 in his last 2 short track races. He's finished first and third. Meantime, Robbie Gordon is in the third position, which is where he started as well. Just came on the radio, so the car is loose into the corners, tight off of the corners. Dave?
Mike Bliss's car started with a little bit of a push. It was tight, but that started coming around for him on the high side. If he runs on the low side, his car is too loose, but on the high side, it's just right now. Marty, back to you.
Kevin Harvick started 5th, running 5th right now. Dave, his car is a little free in, pushes in the center. The times are starting to get better. Starting to track down those front cars, driving the car that he won with at Las Vegas, Matt.
Martin Truex, a championship point. He's only gained 1 spot today, currently runs 6th. Now, we told you earlier that the car was loose. He really hasn't said much on the radio after that. His team just waiting for the first round of pit stops. And then Mike McLaughlin will be in the 25 car for the rest of the year. He runs 7th. His car was pretty much free on entry and practice is good everywhere. And right now, he's just riding 8th.
Casey Atwood has recovered from that early contact on the track and worked his way back forward. He loves this track, even though his best finish is only 8th. He loves coming to Richmond. Matt?
Now, one note after they finished second here in the spring, Greg Mifflin-Scucci, Brad Parrott reminded himself this weekend they wanted to run scuffed tires only, a set of tires that you knock the dew off, so all their tires in this pit are scuffed. He has made up a lot of ground. Meanwhile, the 46th, hometown boy Ashton Lewis having a very solid run tonight. Currently running in the 10th position. Alan?
Top 10 drivers out of 30 that are on the lead lap at this point, as we have just crossed the lap 77 mark in tonight's 250 lapper for the NASCAR Busch Series. Casey Kane is the leader. We continue going through the field with 11th place Jason Leffler, and that's back to Matt.
Earlier in the race, Jason Leffler very pleased with the 0-0, but now he's telling Booty Barker that the car is chattering the front on entry and it's a little too free on exit. Booty's already thinking about what adjustments to make on their stop, Dave.
Paul Menard, another start for that 11 car here. Just a little bit loose right now for Paul, but he said the track was kind of coming to him as he's getting lots of pressure now from Mark Martin.
Matt, a brand new race car for Mark Martin, currently runs in the 13th position. Now, Mark does have some damage to the front of that race car. He's also complaining to Rambo Liberati that the car is really tight.
Casey Mears currently 14th. He says the car is really tight, chattering the front tires, and that's the one black car right there on your screen. That means the car is just kind of skating up the racetrack, driving actually a car that has won here twice with Jimmy Spencer behind the wheel. Dave?
David Green started 21st, told me before the race. We just kind of missed it in qualifying. Recently, he's complained his car has been a little bit tight in the center of the corner. Marty, back to you.
Before the race started, Dave, Stacy Compton told me we have a car that can finish in the top 5 today. Mark my words, a little bit loose. Stacy saying, however, the car is coming to him, getting better the longer they run. Dave?
Johnny Sauter had some contact with the 8 car early on. No damage sheet metal-wise or to the tires. His car just a little bit tight in the center of the corner. 23 car of Kenny Wallace right now for his car. They pitted on lap 39, took on 4 tires, a little bit tight from the center off, so they made an air track bar and wedge adjustment. Matt?
Tim Fidow told me he couldn't wait to get back to the short tracks. It feels like this is the type of racetrack that is a strong suit for this team, currently running just inside the top 20. The car starts out free, but slowly comes in, Dave.
The 18 car of J.J. Yaley's been pretty good tonight. His only complaint, a little bit tight in the middle of the corner, is now he goes by Kenny Wallace, picking up the position, but a pretty good run so far for Yaley.
He may have to catch his breath after that little bobble there a second ago. But he got away with it. Kenny Wallace came away unscathed as well. And we've taken you back through the top 20 of 29 cars that are on the lead lap. That's Ted Musgrave in the 86 being put a lap down by Casey Kane. Out in front at the 1/3 point of tonight's NASCAR Busch Series race at Richmond International Raceway. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Before this war's over, I'm going to kill you. Sunday night on TNT. Academy Award winners Mel Gibson and Chris Cooper. The Patriot. Sunday night at 8 on TNT.
Gotta love a good revenge movie.
That so fits your personality.
It's a good movie.
I thought the Patriot thing was last night. Casey Kane, the race leader, as we close in on halfway. Watch up the top of your screen.
Whoa! Oh, my goodness. Oh.
Travis Geisler
goes in, makes contact with the outside retaining wall, just keeps on going.
Man, he really took off.
It didn't look like casual contact, did it?
It's pretty lucky. He hit it a lot harder than that. So Geisler running along there in 31st place, 1 lap down to the race leader. Best race for a spot on the track right now is for 4th place. Kevin Harvick has it in the 21, and Mike Bliss is trying to get it away in the 20. They're both closing on Robbie Gordon in the 55. And Robbie running in 3rd spot.
Ooh, Robbie's not getting through the center. Very good at all. Dave's got something for him.
Yeah, well, it's the 20 car. Mike Bliss had both those guys beat a few laps ago, but the same problem I mentioned earlier persists for Mike Bliss. He cannot run really well on the low side. They ran the high side and got around him. Marty?
Handling starting to go south for Robbie Gordon. You see Kevin Harvick looking underneath him in turn 1. He said way too tight getting in, way too loose getting off. Actually, that's flip-flop. Way too loose getting in, way too tight coming off the corner. I can't drive it right now, guys.
There's a line there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Flip-flop line. Yeah, never mind.
Bad news for these guys. Well, they're racing for 3rd place. They're almost a straightaway behind the front 2. Kyle Busch in 2nd place is in turn 3 now. These guys are just coming off a 2.
6 seconds behind the leader, Casey Kane.
You see that that left front brake rotor on that 55 car starting to really glow red.
And we've talked about that, BP. When a car slides its nose, or when you go down the corner, a car's pushing, you're going to use a little bit more brake to try to keep the nose pinned so it doesn't slide. That thing looks like it's on fire right now in that 55 car, Robbie Gordon.
Slip there for Mike Bliss coming off a 2. Our AC Delco points as they run.
Truex has now a 75-point lead over Busch. And that's about all you need to know in the NASCAR Busch Series.
You may as well just show the first 2.
Yep. It was 95 starting the race, so Truex running worse. He's in 6th, and Kyle Busch is in 2nd, so Kyle trying to chip away a little more tonight.
I don't think Kyle Busch is going to be in 2nd very long.
You don't think so, huh?
No.
Okay. Truex with the nose underneath Mike Bliss, try and get 5th spot away from him as they work Michael Waltrip's car.
Boy, now that's a real can of worms there.
Yeah.
Got Mike McLaughlin, 25 cars join that. Casey Atwood and Greg Biffle as well.
We're not 3 abreast.
Oh, Martin, that's
Maybe
not smart.
So.
Somebody always loses on that deal.
Thank goodness he had good brakes in that 8 car.
Oh, big slide coming off the corner there, huh?
He got in front of the 55 car of Robbie Gordon. Now they're all going to use the 99 car of Michael Waltrip as a pick to keep the 55 up there. And
Ryan shuffling.
Oh, Robbie's going to try to force the issue and get down, but
he can't. His car doesn't handle well enough to keep down.
See if he squeezes in here in front of Casey Atwood.
Oh, hang on, Robbie. Oh. Man, Marty's losing spot after spot after spot.
I'm telling you, VP, he came on the radio after Kevin Harvick passed him, said I let him go on purpose because I want to get back to the bottom. But then we saw he couldn't get to the bottom. The car just will not drive on the bottom of the racetrack for Robbie Gordon, so he lost all of those spots because he can't keep it on the bottom.
Got pinned in some traffic, so Robbie Gordon is all the way back to 9th place. He was in 3rd just a few laps ago. So Harvick's in 3rd, Bliss 4th, Truex 5th, McLaughlin 6th, Atwood 7th, Biffle by to 8th, and Robbie Gordon 9th.
Ooh, this is tight.
While leader Casey Kane has Kyle Busch behind him and a lot of lap traffic to deal with ahead of him. We probably will see some green flag pit stops in the not too distant future, so let's take a break here and come back and keep an eye on what happens. Casey Kane, the only leader of the race so far. Back at Richmond, the caution flag has just come out. Kenny Wallace with a scary ride up the track and off the wall in turn 3. It could have been a lot worse than that damage that he suffered.
Went down in turn 3 and it looked like the right front tire was flat and could not turn. Into the wall he went.
Top of the screen.
Something definitely broke or gave way there.
And so Kenny on pit road getting some service.
take a ride with him?
Sure, let's go on board with him. I know this might hurt.
Good corner. We're about 5.
Saw a little bit of sparks come out from under the car.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Pit road is open. Leaders come in. Stops will be at lap 109. Casey Kane, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Mike Bliss, Martin Truex, the top 5 on their stops. Dave?
Mike Bliss says, I want to be able to run that bottom groove. Give me 4 tires, make an air pressure adjustment to tighten up the car just a bit on the bottom. Marty?
Kyle Busch wants a little more overall grip and a little more turnability in turn 2. They do that through air pressure. No chassis changes, just air pressure for the 5 car running second. Matt?
Casey Kane felt like he was losing a little too much time in the center of the corner. The car had gone to the tight side. They've already completed a track bar adjustment, but also he felt like if we're going to get another long run, he needed to have the pressure start out lower. He's going to beat everybody off pit road. Marty?
Kevin Harvick running in third. When he hit pit road, Matt, he's leaving in third. He said, we don't need much, guys, just a half turn of wedge in. The car just a little bit loose. Dave?
Marty, on the 20-car stop, Mike Bliss had trouble with the transmission. He'd been complaining about it, and when he went to, they dropped the jack and he went to go, it was in reverse. Spent a couple seconds getting it back into first gear before he could leave pit road.
Yeah, he about ran over his field guy, didn't he?
He wasn't expecting the car to be backing up. Casey Kane holding the lead through a set of caution flag pit stops.
Ready. Green.
Green flag is in the air as TNT comes back to Richmond. Casey Kane, the leader after the pit stops. Kyle Busch second. Kevin Harvick third. Martin Truex fourth. Greg Biffle up to fifth. Mike Bliss, Mike McLaughlin, Casey Atwood, Mark Martin, Ashton Lewis are your top 10. Robbie Gordon kicked all the way back to 11th on the pit stops.
And all right, a battle for the lead. Kyle Busch finally gets alongside the 38 car, but he had his hands full.
Yes, he did. Kyle
We got
Busch
time here. We got time.
trying to keep his driver calm there. Kyle had that thing all over the racetrack.
I believe that was the voice of Ricky Hendrick spotting for Kyle Busch.
Some 5 points.
Yes, he does. So nobody been able to challenge Casey Kane yet. The lap cars kicked up to the high side of the racetrack. That would be Shelby Howard in the 35 as we check our Aaron's pit summary. Holding serve would be the name of that.
Well, nothing changed.
He's not among the top 3.
Greg Biffle, the 60 car, his guys must have had a really good stop because I think he was running about 7th or 8th before the stop. Came out 5th.
8th it would be BP. Picked him up 3 spots.
Truex going for the 35 car. Shelby Howard had a moment up in the corner.
And Truex working on 3rd place.
Biffle right there. Mike Bliss right there.
You know, it just looks like anymore. These guys just have their hands full. It almost looks like the cars just aren't predictable sometimes when they're going to stick and when they're not.
A lot of them are having trouble in the middle. We've seen that. We saw it in the final practice of the Cup cars. The guys get up there. It looks like just right when they get back on the gas, the car snapped loose.
I think they probably have so much wheel into it to get it to go around the corner. When it finally does catch, that's when the back end snaps loose, because I think in the middle of the corner, the cars are pushing, sliding across the racetrack.
One thing we're seeing that we definitely like, that outside lane is as fast as the inside lane, and that's the Richmond we're used to seeing. It's one of the great things about this track. It's why there are so many of those fans in the grandstands tonight. Outstanding side-by-side racing. And Truex not able to, couldn't get by him.
Your Mike Bliss pulls up behind these guys. I think right now Harvick's car does not get going well after the green flag. In 20 or 30 laps, I think he's going to be about as fast as anyone, but right now it looks like he's holding up this line of cars.
Last 3 Richmond NASCAR Busch Series finishes for Kevin Harvick, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. The 3rd being the most recent race this past May. So
Biffle's car looks like it's the best car in that group right there if he can get clear.
That's Biffle in the 60. Biffle started back in 15th place. He is up to 5th now.
Right on the bottom.
It looks like he and Martin Truex in the A car running in about the same spot.
Whoa, Harvick!
For a moment, was that contact or just?
I don't think so. I think he just slid up there. A lot of guys having trouble in that spot.
So Truex through the third, Biffle to fourth, Bliss to fifth. Harvick hanging on, trying to fight for sixth with Casey Atwood. And Atwood in the 14 is going to go on through.
All right, Biffle now on the inside of the 8 car of Truex.
Oh, got slower. There we go. Now we'll see if Biffle leaves these guys, because it certainly looked to me like he had one of the better cars in that group.
Biffle to third, Truex to fourth, and Bliss there in fifth, trying to take that spot away. Boy, look at the run Bliss got.
Oh, now another same deal. Slow car.
Oh, look out.
Oh, and boy, a lot of rubbing that time.
That's the second time.
Yeah, that Truex.
That Bliss and Truex have gone into the corner 3 wide with another car. The first one resulted in that fender damage on Truex's car that we were showing you earlier in the race.
Truex has got to be getting a little bit tired of the 20 wearing him out.
Dave?
Mike Bliss, no damage from that time either. He's been on the giving end both times, and so far it hasn't affected the 20 car. Matt, how about the 8?
A problem may have developed on the championship point leader. Martin Truex Jr. came on the radio, told Bono Mangan and the crew, I may have a right front tire going down. The crew is up on the wall preparing to service his race car if indeed he does have a flat, and they're waiting for him to hit pit road.
It's a possibility of what happened is he made contact and mashed that fender in, and he's lost downforce on the 8 car. When he goes in the corner, and it's sliding worse than it used to, which feels a great deal like a flat right front tire.
Casey Atwood trying to take the 5th spot away from Truex. He's going to, at the end of the night, wasn't it? The Bristol race just a couple of weeks ago, where everything that happened around him. He got bounced off of several times, and he wound up with a decent finish, but kind of felt when he got out of there like he'd been a pinball all night. Might have that same feeling tonight. That is Shelby Howard, who has just had a little dust up with the safer barrier.
This car you drove last week, Wally?
Yep.
Is he manhandling your car?
Yes, he is.
Oh, man.
And again, Truex's struggles continue. Atwood's passed him for 5th. Harvick's working on him for 6th.
But Alan, we got to show Wally his car hitting the wall, don't you think?
I don't want to see that.
Now, come on, please. Guys in truck. Let's. Wally, watch this.
Shelby.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Tell him to pay attention,
Oh,
DP.
that was gentle.
That was
yeah, I would have done a lot better than that.
Yeah, you don't, never mind. That was too easy. So, troubles for the championship leader that might be bringing him to pit road. We're hearing he may be coming in.
Well, he's losing a lot of positions right now.
Matt, what are they saying?
AB, he came on the radio, said it feels like the wheel is going to fall off. Maybe loose lugs from that last pit stop on the 8 car. Bono Mangan told him after he made that statement, come to pit road, we're waiting for you.
Yeah,
he still has not gotten down yet to make his entry.
Bring it in.
Yeah, that's right, because that problem is only going to get worse if those lug nuts, in fact, are loose.
And the more laps you ride around on it,
yeah,
you do some damage to those studs. Now you can't put a new lug on. Oh, you got a break. Oh, boy.
Man, oh, man. Lowell Bennett, the 82 car, comes along and plows into Boston Reed. This Boston Reed, the 87 car, one of the Hendrick Motorsports development drivers.
That's a big break for Martin Truex right there.
Sure is.
Boston Reed, a 21-year-old from Logansport, Indiana, in his 4th stock car race, his first Busch Series race. He is a USAC Sprint and now Silver Crown driver. And Lowell Bennett, a championship contender regularly at Slinger, Wisconsin Speedway.
Boston loses control, and poor Lowell Bennett has nowhere to go.
I don't know if he got turned or not.
Well, that look is possible.
He may have got some help there.
And no place to go.
This is hard contact right here.
Yeah.
Because Lowell Bennett's car goes no place. It just stops.
That's too bad for both. As Boston Reed out of his car. Good to see.
Well, there's an old timer there, isn't it?
His misfortune Good fortune for Martin Truex, who gets to make a pit stop now, potentially under the caution flag. Kevin Harvick in 6th is going to be the first one to come in, followed by Truex and Jason Leffler, and a scattering of the other lead lap cars. Marty?
Well, the decision was made by Rick Byers, who said, you want to pit now and have some track position for later? So this may be the last stop for the 21 car. A little loose when he starts off, but he said, once it comes to me, I'm fine. The car is very good. Half a round of wedge into the left rear. Matt?
After losing 19 points to the 5-car Bristol, Truex gained back 17 last week. Looks like he caught a very lucky break. He told Bonamania the steering wheel was almost shaking out of his hands. A very lucky break. They also made an air pressure adjustment on this 8 car.
Casey Kane, the leader, did not pit under this caution flag. We'll follow up on Truex's issues as the cleanup continues at Richmond. Cleanup still continuing under caution number 5 here at Richmond International Raceway in the Emerson Radio 250. How about our Trim Spa Be Envied moment when you got a problem and the caution comes out to save you from a green flag stop?
Trust me right now, those guys in the 8 car, Truex Jr., Kevin Mannion, they're a happy bunch, aren't they, Matt?
VP, they sure are, and Bono just finished talking to Martin Truex. Loose lugs in the right front, Bono.
Yeah, you know, we've been trying out some new tire changes here a couple weeks in a row. And Chris Changes for the 15 does a really good job. You know, sometimes you have a bad night, and tonight's a bad night for us. And we're going to make the best of it. I still think we can finish in the top 5 and gain some points and see what happens.
You know, restart 17th. Remember, back in the spring, he battled back and scored a top 10 finish, Marty.
Yeah, Kyle Busch right now, Matty, in the 2nd position, and Lance McGrew. Why not pit there when you can make it all the way from here?
I don't know. I hate to give up all that track position this early. So, I mean, there's still a lot of laps left, a lot of racing left. And when you get back in the pack, there's just anything that could happen. Right now, we're out in clean air, and we're pretty good bit quicker than the guy that's been running 3rd and 4th. So, hopefully everything will go all right.
Seems like the long run is the key for Kyle to being fast tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, when you get back in traffic, you can only go as fast as the guy ahead of you, and pretty fast.
All right, driving the car he won with there in May, Alan.
See the jet blowers out on track, cleaning up some of the debris and bits and pieces. So an extended caution here in Richmond. Casey Kane, the leader, will be back. The showdown at sundown tomorrow night here in Richmond. 9 drivers, 4 positions in the chase for the next L Cup championship up for grabs. The usual short track tempers only made all that more pressurized by that great stakes in tomorrow night's race. The Chevy Rock and Roll 400 coverage beginning at 7 o'clock Eastern on TNT. All those 107,097 seats around this racetrack, they'll be full for a 26th consecutive race.
And they've been sold out for quite a while now.
Yeah. Hey, these fans know it's going to be wild tomorrow night. It's going to be a great race to watch.
A terrific crowd here tonight for the NASCAR Busch Series on a Friday night.
And we are a half a lap from the restart. Casey Kane has led all the way so far, getting set to go back racing. Braves baseball on TBS Sunday afternoon. Watch the race Saturday night, the ball game Sunday. Montreal Expos in Atlanta at Turner Field.
Bobby Cox and the boys doing very, very well.
Yes, they are.
I don't know who won the game last night, but I saw Chipper hit a 3-run homer. Put him 4-3, and that's the last score I saw.
Green.
Okay, so here we go. We have 26 cars on the lead lap. Ted Musgrave was the lucky dog at the last caution. He would be last on the lead lap. The cars who pitted, Martin Truex was first off pit road. He restarts 17th. The 16 in front of him did not pit on this caution.
That might not turn out to be too bad for Martin Truex, because all these 16 cars are going to have to pit again before this race is over. And when they do, I don't think Martin Truex is going to pit. They can stay on the racetrack.
Now, what's changed in this segment of the race, besides the different tire strategies, Greg Biffle, that caution, erased all that big gap between himself and these front 2. So now he gets a chance to try and stay with him and race with him.
I think he will, too. The car's been awfully fast. It's looks really good down on the bottom in 1 and 2.
And an update on the leader from Matt.
Casey Kane already has a Busch win. He wants a Nextel Cup win, which he'll try for tomorrow night. Under that caution, his Cup crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, asked if he could ask Casey a couple questions. He said, go ahead. He said, well, Casey, how's how's your car? He said, we freed it up, but if it's still getting tighter, we're going to have to make some more adjustments. Tommy said, how should we do the Cup car? He said, it needs to be looser on the start, but not too much. Tommy said, thanks, guys. Remember, this young man is trying to lock in a spot to chase the Nextel Cup, and he'll do that tomorrow night.
So Casey so far unheaded tonight here at Richmond. And as far as his effort tomorrow night.
Oh, we got trouble.
Turn 3, Tim Fedewa. And the caution flag is out for a 6th time. Oh boy, he may be okay, but his car's not.
You need a rollback for that one. Yeah, both left sides are flat. This left front won't roll.
Let's see, that's Johnny Sauter. Robbie Gordon.
Boy, Robbie Gordon just thrilled of getting into the corner.
Man.
Crunch. Thank goodness for the safer barrier. Bottom to top. Well, I'll put the pace car back out in front of the field.
Yet again.
Slow this race for a 6th time tonight.
Now those guys in the lead, they've got to pick pretty soon. They've got to stop.
I would say now, do it under the yellow. And let the race of the, let the rest of the race work itself out. I think this is the time to do it, Benny.
Well, pit road is closed here because of safety truck sitting across the opening to pit lane. Fedewa's car sitting just off of turn 4 toward the start-finish line. He tried to drive it back around and didn't get very far, obviously. And Tim out of the race car and is okay. So the question becomes, do those leaders give up track position for a pit stop here? We don't expect Truex and Harvick and Leffler and those guys who just stopped to come in.
And you're right, Alan. They're giving up a great deal off track position to pit, but now some of these guys will just change 2 tires.
I mean, it's better to do it under the yellow than if they have to be forced to do it in the green.
What's going to happen?
Well, nothing's going to happen because pit road is still closed.
Okay.
So we'll take a break. We'll come back and find out what happens in a minute. Back at Richmond International Raceway, the debris that had occupied the pit road entry from where Tim Fedewa's car originally came to rest has been collected, and so pit road is open now. Here comes your leader. Question is, does Martin Truex come in? He's the first one off pit road on the last caution.
And Casey Atwood stayed on the racetrack. That might be a huge mistake for him.
Truex stays out. Dave?
Mike Bliss pits. They want to check the right front fender, see if that can loosen up a little bit to pound it out. But they are going to make a wedge adjustment to loosen the chassis. Marty?
Dave Kyle Busch said the car starts a little free, but pretty good in the middle of the corner and off, especially getting in. It's a little loose. Half pound in the right front and a wedge adjustment for the 5 car, Matt.
Leader Casey Kane having an awesome night. A little slow on the right front of the cars. The changer comes around. No chassis adjustment. He can be beat off by Ashton Lewis. The 60 of Greg Biffle. Slow stop for Casey Kane.
Looks like Mark Martin's going to be the first one off pit road.
And my guess is that he changed 2 tires. I wondered if some of these guys just might try a 2-tire stop.
Cleanup continues at Richmond. We'll find out where those guys who stopped are going to line up in the restart order when we come back to Virginia's capital city. Okay, 17 gallons at 4.8 miles to the gallon. Carry the 1. Use the calculator, man. Use the calculator.
Oh, he's been using it. He's worn it out. He's worn it out. The batteries have run dead.
Pick up the milk, the eggs, bacon.
And McLaughlin's crew, he will come out 17th. I saw him checking out their pit stop just a moment ago on the VCR behind the pit box.
A crewman's work is never done.
We're going to need that tomorrow.
Calculators? Oh yeah. But believe me, we've got backup batteries everywhere.
Our best guys on it.
That's right. Casey Atwood, the new leader, did not stop under this caution flag, nor did second place runner Mark McFarland. Martin Truex Jr., who pitted on the previous caution, he moves up to 3rd.
followed by Jason Leffler and Kevin Harvick. First off pit road under this yellow was Mark Martin in the 9, who did not take any tires.
So it always gets real interesting when you got guys with tires 15 cars back in the field.
The dominator of the race, the man who led the first 152 consecutive laps, Casey Kane, is 14th in line. He was 4th. Now check that, 5th off pit road.
Hey, Dave, is Jay Guy and these guys figuring on going the rest of the way in the 14 car?
Yes, they are, BP. They pitted back on that lap 109 pit stop. They said they were about 6 laps short on fuel. They needed about 12 caution laps, and by now, they're just about there.
Hermie Sadler, first car to the inside of the leader. That's a lap down. Hermie in 27th spot, and here we go. So after leading the first 152 laps of this race, Casey Kane back in traffic in 14th place, plus the lap cars to the inside.
That's the 6 car, Mark McFarland in 2nd spot. Mark Truex in 3rd. Jason Leffler, 00, 4th.
Remember that McFarland pitted at lap 109 also. Truex pitted at 134. He's got fresher tires, and he goes after 2nd place.
McFarland gives him the room. Oh, McFarland goes to the corner, and he goes straight, Marty.
Yeah, you're supposed to turn left, aren't you there, BP?
Yep.
Mark, they pitted at lap 109 too, but they say they'll have to come back down pit road for more fuel before the end of this race. They cannot make it all the way on fuel. The theory is let them burn up their tires. They'll put on new ones later. Hopefully they'll be able to make some progress through the field.
If we get enough caution, we get enough green flag laps for the guys to burn up their tires and then get the caution at the right spot for him to put the tires on. Not a bad strategy. We'll see. McFarland, the NASCAR Weekly Racing Series national champion.
So the 59 may be blowing up. Jason Compton.
Kevin Harvick, Johnny Sauter, 21 and 27, racing for 5th and 6th positions. And let's talk about Mark Martin. First off pit road, but no tires on that pit stop. How about the thinking on pit lane, Matty?
Well, Rambo Liberati now, 3 guys in the pit box. You chose to take no tires. What did everybody else say?
Well, sitting up here with my engineer and Jack, they both said I probably ought to take tires, but that number 9 Penzo car would just not go on new tires, and we had old tires, and we wasn't going to do nothing, so we're just going to see what happens, and hopefully I made a good call. If I did, then I'm right. If I didn't, then Jack's right. He's going to throw me off the box, I reckon, but we'll see. Mark's doing a heck of a job. Car's running good. All the guys done a good job, and I'm just hoping that that we can just get up front and see what happens.
He's hoping to give Mark Martin another win here at Richmond. Remember, they almost won back in Michigan.
As Mark in the 9 right behind Mike Wallace, trying to get on the inside of him. Down in turn 1, he's there.
That's for 8th place. So Mark will have moved up 2 spots since the restart in that 9 car. Mark has added a couple of Busch races to his schedule for later this year after Jeff Burton split with Roush Racing. Remember, Mark and Jeff and Matt Kenseth were all going to split time in this car. Jeff's departure, Mark is also going to run the Busch races at Dover, Atlanta, and Phoenix later in 2004.
Well, I'm sure those racetrack promoters are glad to hear that, because fans always want to come see Mark Martin running the NASCAR Busch Series. After all, he only won about 60 of them.
Now watch, right here it looks like Biffle is putting some pressure on Casey Kane, which we haven't seen anybody really do that all day.
Well, remember, Biffle came off pit road ahead of Casey Kane.
That's right.
Okay.
Kane has just gone by Biffle.
And now he's trying to go by Ashton Lewis in that 46, who also came off pit road ahead of him. Can you imagine having a car that was good enough to be unchallenged for 152 laps of leading? At less than 100 laps from the finish, somebody saying, okay, you're 14. Go get him. Good luck.
And you can't go anywhere, obviously, as you can see.
Here comes Kyle Busch, that 5 car. He's trying to go by Biffle on the outside. And Biffle better go to the outside quickly behind the 46 car. He's going to get hung up behind him.
This is for 10th, 11th, 12th.
Just depends which one of those guys go, Mike Wallace or Ashton Lewis.
Or where a lap car comes up and holds one of those lines up.
Lap car might get run over.
Tell you what, looks like Biffle made the right choice. He gets back by the 38 car. Now here comes a 5 on the inside of the 38.
So Biffle redeemed me.
Now Kyle Busch in front of Casey Kane. David Green next, but he can't keep Kane shuffled into that outside lane. So now, Casey has to make up all those positions he just lost, and then try and work his way toward the front.
And I tell you what, that's a couple of good cars that just got by him. The 60 and 5 are not going to be pushovers when the 38 gets there, if he does get there.
Can't get by Mike Wallace right now.
You're abusing your stuff a little bit more right now when you're driving in traffic than if you had the whole racetrack to yourself like he's had all race.
And these guys are trying to find a place to wreck, aren't they? Bunch of cars.
Yeah, he might have it cleared this time. All right, so now Casey, look how quickly Biffle and Kyle Busch have left him while he was racing there with Mike Wallace. Here is Kyle Busch on Ashton Lewis. That'll be for 11th place. As Lewis tries to keep up with Greg Biffle, who's slicing through some of the traffic.
How many tires did Ashton take on that last pit stop?
Actually waiting to hear back on that for sure. I thought it was 4, but I'm waiting for confirmation on that. We will get it momentarily, okay?
I didn't know if I just wasn't paying attention to you again, or if we didn't get that information.
As we watch this battle, Ted Musgrave is slow down pit road. Looks like he may be going to the garage area.
Marty.
Allen, Kyle Busch have been very patient tonight. The car is very good. But what they need is what we have right now, a little green flag racing. That's when Kyle's car is the best. That's one of the theories of why they made the pit stop that last time. They were coming no matter what. But Lance McGrew said we cannot afford to give up the track position early in the run. We need to pit now because I know Harvick is going to be coming. And Harvick's car also very good on the longer runs.
All this going on behind the leader, Casey Atwood, out in front at lap 174 of 250. You're watching NASCAR Busch Series racing presented by Advil. NASCAR Busch Series racing from Richmond, presented by Advil on TNT, is brought to you by Alivert. Discover non-drowsy Alivert, quick dissolving allergy medicine right when you need it. By Propane, Propane Exceptional Energy. By YJ Stinger, the Extreme Energy Drink. Catch the buzz, feel the sting. And by Just for Man, more than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. And spray in 5 minutes, looks natural.
Well, this race just got rejuvenated.
Caution for Stacy Compton.
He just got in the wall, and it might have blown up. I don't know.
All right, you led for it, BP.
There you go.
Tonight's Just for Men hair color rejuvenating moment of the race.
Yeah, it's big.
It's been trying to blow up for some time now.
As I said, this race, we're not talking about heads. Now we're talking about the race just got rejuvenated because now they're all nose to tail. And now we have, let's see, Mark Martin, 8th. Biffle is 10th. Kyle Busch, 11th. Casey Kane, 12th.
67 laps to go. What do you do if you got a set of tires left? You come in and take them here if you're one of those guys back in traffic?
Yes.
No. In traffic, oh yeah.
all together now.
Yeah. Nobody from 15th forward, I don't think, will stop.
Mike Wallace looks like he's going to be the first one to stop in 16th place.
There you go.
Very good, Professor Parsons. Caution flag out for the 7th time here tonight at Richmond. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. 63 laps to go. Green flag is in the air. Challenge for the lead right away. Martin Truex after Casey Atwood.
Oh, Atwood is trying to maintain the lead using that high line down in 1 and 2.
And got one in the wall. Turn 4. Mike McLaughlin. Caution flag is out.
Man, he had a good run going.
Okay, Mike. Bring her on around. Come on, come on.
Like the left rear tire's flat.
Yellow number 8. And McLaughlin was running in... Let's see if I can find him here. He was running in 14th place at the time of his troubles.
Sorry about that, guys. Had a good run on the outside, then I got squeezed up the last minute.
There's his explanation. Now let's take a look at the video. up a lane to take the outside into the corner, and Mike was there.
Yep.
So troubles for McLaughlin, and the caution flag waves once again, and Truex's challenge for the lead is thwarted. Tomorrow night on TNT, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. 400 laps of racing to determine the drivers that will compete for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship. When it's over, we will stay for an extended post-race show. We'll talk to the drivers that are in, the drivers that are out. It's the NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship preview show after the race tomorrow night here on TNT.
And I tell you what, folks, we're going to be talking to some very, very happy people, especially those guys from 8th, 9th, 10th. And we're going to be talking to some very sad people, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. All those guys got a chance to qualify for the NASCAR Nextel Cup.
Check this out on the double up to the last restart. Michael Waltrip is coming to the inside to get up by the leaders. And watch Mike Wallace, who's warming up his tires, clunk.
Wow, man, a lot of damage on both those cars in that.
So that quick caution, a huge break for Mike Wallace. He's made 2 pit stops under this yellow to repair the damage, and he has stayed on the lead lap, but he's back to 25th place. Casey Atwood leads. Martin Truex is second. Leffler third. Harvick fourth. Robbie Gordon fifth. Casey Kane back in 11th spot behind Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle. They've been the dominant cars in the race, but they're hung in some traffic after an exchange of strategy, if you will. People bidding on different cautions on different schedules.
And I tell you what, a lot of those NASCAR Nextel Cup teams are watching this 14 car running as well as he is with these tires that's been on there for now about 100 laps, but still able to stay in front of the 8 car. And all of a sudden the 8 car went in the corner, just, I don't know, he missed the brake pedal or something.
A couple things. Gus Wasson being black flagged, not meeting the minimum speed, I believe, is the ruling there.
Kevin Harvick lost a couple spots that last lap, too. Robbie Gordon got by. And Paul Menard. They held off Paul Menard.
Well, he's trying to hold off Paul Menard.
We back up on that. Something hanging off for Gus Wasson's car. That's why he's been black flagged. Also, Kenny Wallace back on track after time behind the wall for repairs. He is 69 laps down in 37th place.
Jason Leffler, 00, goes by. Truex takes over that second spot and continues. The 00 continues his terrific run in the last couple of months.
Paul Menard gets by Kevin Harvick.
That's Menard up to 5th and Harvick back to 6th. Kyle Busch trying to work through all the other cars on the same pit schedule with him. He just passed Greg Biffle in the 60. Now Busch in the 5, working on Mark Martin in the 9 for 8th place. This will be the first of the cars on that second pit schedule, if you will.
Casey Kane taking a look at the outside of Greg Biffle in the 60. Working the high line.
And Mark Martin on those older tires just not giving in. Martin in the 9. Tell you what, you got 2 equally fast lanes at this racetrack. To be fastest, you need the whole track. And when cars race side by side, just not sometimes enough racetrack there to finish that pass.
Kyle Busch gets by Mark Martin. Now Greg Biffle, the 60 car, moves up behind him.
So that puts Kyle to 8th place. He's got some traffic to try and get through to see if he can contend for the win in the remaining 50 laps of this one. Here's your leader, Casey Atwood. Let's go through the field. We'll start with Dave Burns.
Alan, one of the reasons why Jay Guy, the crew chief, and Casey Atwood, reasons they could stay out, because the chassis has handled so well early in the race. Casey reported in the right front drifts so well compared to practice. I am in control of this race car. We got the thumbs up on fuel for the 14. Matt?
Dave back on lap 108. Booty Barker made a big chassis adjustment. 3 rounds in the right rear and also an air pressure adjustment. Jason Leffler to the car was bad tight. They also fixed that right front fender. Meanwhile, Martin Truex, his spotter, had talked to Casey Atwood's spotter. They were hoping to lead a lap, gain some bonus points since Kyle Busch hadn't led yet, but he is slowly fading. His car has gone to the tight side. Marty?
Matt, a little earlier in the race, Robbie Gordon said, guys, we're going backwards. The car much better now, though. A little bit too tight. His best short track finish this year, 15th at IRP. Much better tonight, Dave.
Paul Menard pitted for 2 right side tires on lap 146. His car was tight. They made an air pressure field. Marty?
Dave, early in the run, the 21 car of Kevin Harvick calls it snap loose, meaning the car just wants to go loose all of a sudden. Although the longer they run, the better he gets. Right now, the quote was, "We're really good, guys. Just give us some time." Dave?
Johnny Sauter radioed in, "This car turns like nobody in business with new tires." But they stayed out last time on old tires. So they're just looking for holes in the traffic, trying to hold their position. Marty?
Kyle Busch, one of those guys on the second scheduled pit stop, pitted at lap 149. The car is starting to get a little bit better, just a little bit loose in. He said, "That's better, though. Now he's a little bit tight. Nothing he can't live with." Matt?
And the Roush car making his way up there. Greg Biffle, he was telling his team the car, it was starting to get tight and tighter on exit. He was trying to adjust his line to help free the car up, and it just would not do anything. Meanwhile, his teammate Mark Martin, remember, he's running on old tires. He's dropped back to 10th, really hasn't said a whole lot on the radio, looking for their second straight top 10. That rounds out this top 10, guys.
10 of what are 24 cars on the lead lap. Casey Atwood leading Jason Leffler by 1.1 seconds, leading Kyle Busch by 5 seconds. Laps winding down. Trouble, turn 2. Casey Mears. Look out!
Oh, don't.
Boy, oh boy.
Man, how in the world did he spin through all those cars and no one plow in the back of him?
When he hit him.
Heads up driving. Casey was running 15th at the time, Marty.
Alan, it wasn't 10 laps ago. He came on the radio and said, "Guys, we have absolutely no brakes left." Don't know whether that had anything to do with the wreck, but he said, "We have no brakes left in the one car."
Might have had something to do with why he slid back through traffic. So Casey Mears, one of 9 different drivers that have been behind the wheel of this one car for James Finch this year. Brings out the caution, the 9th one of this race, and slows us up with 43 laps to go. That might have been big for Kyle Busch. Talk about that in a second. First, let's pick up in progress the Casey Mears problem, top of your screen.
Yeah. Don't really see what might have caused it. All we see is him going straight across the racetrack in front of the yellow car, Hermie Sato, the red and blue car of Stan Barrett.
Ahead from Kenny Wallace. Check out the top of the screen.
I don't know if there was contact with that car or not. Hard to tell.
It's J.J. Yaley there. Whoa.
36 did a good job there.
Travis Geisler. And so the one car in for repairs from the Phoenix Racing team. And the caution flag bringing the pace car out in front of the field again. Mark Martin pitting here under this yellow.
Uh-oh.
But most of the other leaders do not. So I guess the old tire strategy given up on. And now let's throw some fresh ones at it with 40 to go and see what we can get through the field in. See where Mark Martin's going to restart when we come back. Casey Atwood is the leader. It's NASCAR Busch Series Racing, presented on TNT by Advil from Richmond, Virginia. NASCAR Busch Series Racing from Richmond, presented by Advil on TNT, is brought to you by Advil Liquid Gels. They rush relief where it hurts. Advil Liquid Gels, liquid fast. By Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Life's good between a Reese's Cup. By KFC, next time you're in Chicken Capital USA, grab a Twister. And by Alivert. Discover non-drowsy Alivert, quick-dissolving allergy medicine right when you need it. Caution out with 39 laps to go here in Richmond. Let's check on pit road. Dave?
With Jay Guy, crew chief for Casey Atwood. Okay, it looks like he can hold off the 8 on the restarts. Can he hold off the 0-0?
Yeah, I think we've got the 0-0 covered right now. We've got one of the faster cars on the track. Casey's doing a great job out there in the Navy Chevrolet. I mean, it's going to be an exciting finish no matter what, but I think we got something for him tonight.
All right, Casey looking for his first top 5 since September of '99. That was his win at Dover, Matt.
The 0-0 team looking for their second win this season. Now the 14 says they've got you guys covered. What do you think about your chances, Booty?
I mean, who knows, you know. It depends on a long run, yeah, they're better than we are. But on a short run, the car's a little tight, which makes it, you know, you can drive it harder for the short go, so who knows? You know how it is.
I know how it is, definitely here on a short track. Marty?
Again with Bob Temple, Matt, as Robbie Gordon seems happy to be in 4th right now. How's the car, though?
Car's a little loose entry and tied off. We're struggling a little bit here with the Fruit Loom Chevy Monte Carlo, but Rob's doing a great job. He's working with it. Hopefully it'll come out good.
That guy's a great
All right,
man.
and yeah, I saw that we had the wrong shot there. Our cameraman was shooting the wrong guy, but Bob Tipple says car's a little too loose for Robbie. Robbie says he's not very happy right now, hoping to hold on for a top 5.
I'll tell you what, I don't know there's anybody that needs a victory or wants a victory any more than Casey Atwood in that 14 car, because, you know, he drove for the 19 car for Ray Evernham in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series a couple of years ago. Lost that ride to Jeremy Mayfield. He came back to the Busch Series, but I think he's grown up a lot in the last 2 years, and I think he's ready to go back over to the big show now and get the job done if he gets a shot at it again.
Career stalled, trying to rebuild a career. And Casey Atwood out in front now for 62 of the 214 laps.
Green flag, green.
That have now been completed. Restart. 36 to go. Atwood leading, Leffler second, Truex third, Gordon fourth, Menard fifth. Harvick is sixth. Kyle Busch, the one to watch in my opinion. He's in seventh spot.
And now Leffler's got his hands full with Truex in the 8 car, trying to stay in front of the 8. So he's got to be defensive, not offensive. Oh, here comes Kyle.
I get 2 of them, maybe.
That'll be 6th place on Harvick, and he's working on Paul Menard in 5th. Marty?
5 car coming to life, Alan. His quote under the last caution for Kyle Busch: "She's lovely." He likes the race car, trying to get another spot from Paul Menard.
Not quite this time. And up front, here's Robbie Gordon working on Jason Leffler in the 00. That's for 3rd. Gordon in the 55.
Truex, the 8 car, has gotten by. And we'll see if he can catch the 14, do anything with him.
Oh, that's a slide job right there. That's a crossover.
Some damage to that left front fender on Leffler's car. See if that affects him in these final laps. See it? Free spin there?
Just a little bit.
From where he in the 55 made contact. Now farther back, Kyle Busch still trying to find a way to get around Paul Menard for 5th. Nice job by the kid in the 11 tonight. Paul Menard, 24-year-old from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. In only his 6th race with the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated team, he's in position for his best ever NASCAR Busch Series finish. He hasn't had a top 10 yet.
He's doing a good job tonight.
If he can hang on, it'd be a good one for him. And here they go again.
Now this one more time.
Robbie drive up the racetrack. That was a fake push there.
They're not giving each other any room, are they?
Nope. Now he's going to go up the racetrack, and the 00 is going under him again. This time,
this might be one of those where there's some contact before it's over that results in one of them spinning around. Marty?
One other thing Robbie Gordon said on the radio was the longer it runs, the worse the car gets. So that doesn't bode well, although he did a pretty good job of holding the 00 off.
All right, so that settles down for a moment. And Robbie Gordon is in 3rd with Jason Leffler back to 4th. Michael Waltrip being black flagged, not meeting the minimum speed in the 99 car. A tough night for Mikey. Tell you what, Kyle Busch did not get around Paul Menard, and these guys in front of him are leaving him. Look at the gap. Back to Busch there in the 5 car. On board with Kyle.
They've got Harvick to worry about too now. Harvick got back up on his rear bumper.
How about that 11 car with Paul Menard, Dave?
Well, Alan, I was just thinking, isn't this just a chance that Paul Menard had been looking for when he joined this Chance 2 group, and in his 5th race now for them, looking to prove that he's a wheel man with the right equipment under him and holding off these guys? I think you'd have to say, yeah.
Sure looks like one. He's driving away from Kyle Busch, who led how many laps? 236 laps in the spring here?
236 of 250.
Kyle must have lost the handle on that car.
Sure looks like it.
Getting worked over by Kevin Harvick for 6th place. Casey Atwood, spotter and crew chief and so on that can see this going on, loving it. Because they know every lap they can keep these guys busy is to the advantage of their driver.
You hear that car miss?
I think he was on a limiter.
I think it's a red limiter?
Yep.
That could be. It certainly did sound
for 6th and 7. While up front, it's all Casey Atwood right now. He stopped at lap 109, did not pit at lap 134 when some of the other cars, front runners did not pit again at lap 152 when a lot of the other front runners did. That's how he got to the lead, and he has not been headed since. Now 75 laps led for Casey Atwood. Dave?
Maybe I spent some time with Casey Atwood in the garage today, and in talking, I asked him to reflect on his first visit ever to Richmond. I already mentioned today that he loves this place. He remembered that first race in 1998 here vividly. He said, I was driving a basically white race car with a red number 28, and I was wide-eyed, and I loved this place as soon as I got on the track. I finished 13th that day, but I started 6th, and ever since then, I've always liked Richmond.
He's got good reason to.
So he and Jay Guy, the crew chief on this car, have a terrific setup here tonight. He's been up there for 120 laps or 125 laps on these same tires, and no one can catch him.
Here's a neat twist on what we're seeing tonight, too, even if he isn't able to hang on to the win. But you look at this team right now that's running first versus the team that's running second, and some of them behind them. This is the Fitz Bradshaw team, owned by, got trouble, turn 2, got a spinner, Travis Geisler. Caution flag is out. Okay, let's hold that thought. Hold that thought. Man.
We need some tires, Ricky.
Travis talking about Ricky Pearson, right?
The crew chief said we need some tires.
So this would be yellow flag number 10 in the race.
Oh, well.
And no, we're not there yet.
No. I wasn't even thinking about asking.
He got some help.
Yes, he did. Stanton Barrett in the 91 car that made contact with him down in turn 1.
Beautiful 360, though.
It was a nice 360, wasn't it? So Travis is able to fire it up and continue away. The 23-year-old from the Pittsburgh area in his 10th NASCAR Busch Series start.
This is Kenny Wallace, the front bumper of the 23 Stacker 2 car.
I'm amazed that camera survives any time we put it out there on one of these short tracks.
Been lucky with it.
Yeah. Especially Kenny had that problem with the right front earlier and got into the wall in turn 3. And it survived. Still going.
Also have a brake cam on David Strimme's car, but under the caution flag situation, that rotor is not red. Under green flag conditions, we'll try to go to that and show you just how hot these brake rotors get. Around 1,200 degrees.
Mike McLaughlin is the lucky dog on this caution. He'll get back on the lead lap. And Matt Yoakum is a lucky dog because he gets to work down on pit road.
A lot of conversation going on between Bono Mannion and Martin Truex. Now, first off, a great night for both cars out of Morrisville, the 11 and the 8. But do you have a shot here now with 20 to go?
I think so, Matt. You know, Casey, he did the one pit strategy, which is pretty good. Unfortunately, or fortunately, right now we had a loose tire and we had to come in, but otherwise we would have been, right back there with them cars. Our car hasn't been great tonight. You know, we've made it better. I hope we have a shot. I'm real happy for Paul and Tony and them guys. They came with a car a similar car that we used to run here. We came with a little different combination, and they're showing us up, I think.
A big weekend at New Hampshire. This young man will make his official first Nextel Cup start.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We got a really cool car for up there, a neat new sponsor. So I'm going to go up there next week and get a reality check, I think. But hopefully our goals are just to qualify, and then I think a good goal will be in top 15. I think we can do it.
This team debuted right here at Richmond 2 years ago tonight. 10 wins in 44 starts. They're working on number 11 this evening.
Well, he's got to try and get around Casey Atwood if he's going to pick up the win. Atwood, a determined young man tonight, and he's got some support not only in his pit, but probably around the globe tonight.
He has got, looks like, lots of Navy folks there, Dave.
And next week, BP, he's going to go live, eat, and sleep Navy as he's going to visit the shipyards at Norfolk, Virginia for 3 days while they've got to race off next weekend.
The Naval Recruiting Command, one of the sponsors on this 14 car. And of course, we think about our men and women in service around the United States doing what they do so well to preserve our freedoms.
He says accelerate your life. I think this would accelerate his life, talking about Casey Atwood, if he can pull this victory off.
And talking about this team, this is a Busch Series only team. This isn't one of the teams with the big heavy cup ties. This is Armando Fitz and Terry Bradshaw who own this team. They field the multi-car effort, try to compete against the DEIs and Chance 2s and Hendrick Motorsports and all the rest.
Not really Armando's team, it's Mimi's team.
Well,
she pretty much calls the shots on this deal, so
that's your point made.
So well.
But it's good to see a standalone Busch Series team out there doing the job.
And Terry Bradshaw should be working tonight, getting ready for tomorrow, but he's probably watching the Busch race.
Green flag, green flag.
16 laps to go. Can Casey Atwood hold off Martin Truex?
Oh, Paul Menard slides up the racetrack, loses a bunch of spots.
Atwood trying to hang on. And Robbie Gordon working in third in case these two should get together racing for the lead. Atwood holds him off. Is that Armando? That's Armando, yeah.
Armando, he's watching him.
That's the team owner. Partner along with Terry Bradshaw.
He's watching the big screen. Here we go. The 8 car's there again.
Oh, look out! Robbie Gordon coming through on the bottom. New leader with 15 laps to go. Robbie Gordon able to take advantage when Truex slipped racing underneath Atwood for the top spot. Gordon slides by. Now they're double wide for second.
And Atwood maintains that second spot, but now can he pass the 55 car? Can he catch it?
Good.
Oh, he's going to get good.
He's going to get good.
He's faster than the 55 car.
Oh yeah, he's going to catch it, but Robbie's not the easiest guy to pass.
Yeah, but I'm going to predict after losing the lead the way he did, he's not going to hesitate to put the fender to somebody if he needs to get that win back. If he can get to it, is the question. Agree, disagree?
Oh, I think he'll, yeah, he's going to get to him. He's to him.
He's there.
Robbie's car, like we talked about earlier, the longer they run, he cannot get through the center of the corners.
Outside with a look. Atwood not able to get up alongside. 10 to go when they come back.
Tell you what, if Atwood gets on the outside of the 55 car, it's all over.
Yeah, but Robbie... Well,
here we go. Here we go.
I don't think Robbie's going to give it to him.
Squeeze him. 10 laps to go at Richmond. Last year, this race in the final 10 laps, Matt Kenseth and Johnny Sauter traded paint, racing for the win. The lead changed hands the final time off the final corner. Let's see what it's like tonight. Atwood with a slip.
Yep, he slipped just a little bit, cost him a little bit of time.
I think Casey's going to have to lean on him a little bit. Because Robbie's not going to lead that outside open.
What are they saying in Robbie Gordon's pit, Marty?
Well, you know he's going to block as much as he can, Alan. All they said is this is all you. You've got to make it happen right here. Robbie Gordon's been very open in the past 2 weeks about the fact that his contract at Richard Childress Racing is up at the end of the year. This is his own Busch team. He owns his car and the entire team, and this may be his livelihood next year. It would look a lot better if the 55 team won tonight, trying to attract a sponsor for next year.
All right, he's starting to move up the racetrack. He's starting to move up the racetrack. Talking about the 55, but the 14 has shown all night he's better on the outside.
Well, he better look in the mirror, or maybe he should look in the mirror, because that 8 car is right there. He's going to have to force the issue here pretty quick, or Martin Truex is going to be by both of them.
Oh, we're going to run at him there in the center of the corner. Not quite.
They got slower cars are coming up on as well.
Yep. 3-lap cars just in front of the race leaders. Gus Watson's car involved in an accident earlier, plus Derek Cope. And the 72 of John Graham taking a racing lane.
Five now, 5 to go.
Robbie Gordon looking for his first ever NASCAR Busch Series win. Best finish before, third on 2 different occasions this season. Those are his 2 best career NASCAR Busch Series finishes. Atwood with another run at him. Not quite.
He's going to have to get beside him in the middle of the corner. Because Robbie, like I said, is drifting up the racetrack. Either that or he's going to have to... But like you said, his workout, Casey's car doesn't work really good down low.
3 laps to go. 1 more lap car ahead of the race leaders.
The 55 car is running in exactly the spot that the 14 car needs to be in.
Mike McLaughlin's slower car at the bottom, injured earlier in an accident, the race car that is. And now 2 laps to go for Casey Atwood to try and get around Robbie Gordon, for Gordon to try and defend and hang on for his first Busch Series win. Off turn 2, Atwood with a fender inside.
He's going to drive it in hard.
Looking for some running room down low as they come to the white flag. Robbie Gordon is able to hang on. Final lap in Richmond. Who's it going to be? Atwood got the run off turn 2 last time. Gordon's able to hang on for now. Final corners. Atwood with a run at him, but he can't get underneath. Robbie Gordon wins at Richmond. What a finish. Casey Atwood winds up second. Martin Truex Jr. third. Robbie Gordon with his first ever NASCAR Busch Series victory.
That was good stuff, wasn't it?
That's why all these seats are full at this racetrack year after year. His 23rd NASCAR Busch Series start yields win number 1 for Robbie Gordon and team. Marty?
Bob Temple, great run. You told us a moment ago the car was not that good. How did he hold the 14 on?
The car wasn't really that good all day. We started out front. He had an awesome qualifying run, and things been loose on the entry and tied off all night. We just weren't able to get it out of it. And he just did an awesome job at the end. It was all him. It wasn't the car at all. It was all him.
Kind of mixed emotions for Bob Temple tonight. Happy to win, but he was a long-time employee for the Fitz Bradshaw race team, so kind of a win-win for Bob tonight.
Robbie Gordon, the 13th different driver to win in the NASCAR Busch Series in 2004 and the 5th first-time winner this year. Our Mobile Command performance was the moment of the race.
Well, this certainly cost the 14 the race.
This was 15 to go.
Going in turn 3, the 8 car gets loose, goes up, just touches the 14, knocks him out of the groove. 55 seizes the moment, goes in front and stays there.
3rd to 1st for Robbie Gordon. And it results in a terrific last 10 laps with Casey Atwood trying to find his way back around Gordon, but unable to, and Robbie holds on to pick up the victory. Well, happy or disappointed with second place, Dave Burns is with Casey Atwood.
Climbing out of the car right now, Casey, we know how bad you wanted to win. It been 76 races since your last victory. Talk about those final laps.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed, man. It's been a long time, and I thought I had it. They wasn't going past me. You know, I was running the high side. I was getting some good momentum, and looked like Martin just got loose inside of me and got into me a little bit and let the 55 get by. But I thought we had them. It was close. It's disappointing to come this close, but our last few races are looking good for us, and just hope to get the Navy Chevy a win before the year's out.
All right, good-looking race for him tonight. Marty?
Dave, a 3rd place for Martin Truex Jr., who went over and apologized to Casey Atwood. Tell me about the contact with the 14.
Well, you know, it's just tough short track race, and you get up under somebody that's so hard not to get loose down there on the bottom, especially on cold tires. And just got to run on him, got loose, and I want to apologize, man. He had an awesome car, and he done a great job. He probably should have won the race if it wasn't for me, but great job tonight again. Started the race, we weren't too good, and they just kept on digging, kept working on it, and we were one adjustment away at the end from having a winning race car. But great job, Best Pro Shops, and everybody here tonight. I'm pretty happy with that run.
Somehow this Chance 2 team always rallies, finishing 3rd tonight.
And time for our Reese's Winner's Circle interview as Robbie Gordon has made his way to victory lane. Let's hear from him.
And here in victory lane. Robbie Gordon trying to get his seat off. Undoing the helmet. The 5th first-time winner in 2004 NASCAR Busch Series competition. He's won in so many different series. And he has tried for so long to win in the NASCAR Busch Series. And he finally, in a storied racing career, climbs out a winner, and he's going to get the shower to prove it. This is big for you. You've wanted one of these for a long time.
Well, I think this is about our 20th Busch race ever, but brand new race team this year. Man, this is our first win, but it should have been about 5 or 6 of them. Can't say enough about Bob Temple, Frank Kerr, Mike Seymour, everybody on this race team. Fruit of Loom, great sponsor. Richard Childress Racing for providing us engines and pit crew. Can't say enough about guys that want to win, and we need this right now, especially being a new Busch team, getting ourselves in victory lane. Should make it a lot of fun here in the future.
There's been a lot of talk about where you may be racing next year, Robbie. Could it be full-time with this team, possibly in Cup?
Well, this team right now is set up to do 24 races next year with Fruit of the Loom, and we're really excited about it. Maybe we'll run a full season of Busch and try to win a Busch championship. You know, can't say enough. Just really, really excited. John Story, everybody on that's really, really helped us come a long way. So, really excited.
He wins in a thriller in Richmond, guys.
Thank you.
Robbie Gordon, tonight's winner. And we check out the final results from the Emerson Radio 250. Robbie Gordon with the victory. Casey Atwood with his first top 5 finish since his win at Dover in September of '99. His first top 5 since then in the Busch Series. Martin Truex finishing a couple of spots ahead of Kyle Busch. He'll add a couple of points in his championship standings.
And Paul Menard back in 13th. We didn't get to see it. There's stuff going on up front, but he got moved up the racetrack there in 1 and 2 and lost a bunch of spots.
Mark Martin, you saw, only able to come back to 12th position after the late stop for tires.
Ron Hornaday had not a very good night. Finishes 21st on the lead lap, but way back in 21st.
Michael Waltrip out late, and some of the other drivers who had troubles throughout tonight's race. Jason Keller involved in the early crash. And the final finishers, Mark Green, Jeff Fuller, and Aaron Fike. Championship standings now with 8 races to go in the NASCAR Busch Series season. 105 points, the gap between the two.
And as Wally and I said, that's about all you need to know in the NASCAR Busch Series. 2 guys, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch.
And of course, tomorrow night, it'll be 9 for 4. 9 drivers competing for the final 4 spots in the chase for the Nextel Cup. It's the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Live on TNT, we start with Discover Card Countdown to Green at 7 Eastern Time. Then after the race, stay tuned as Nextel presents the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship Preview Show. Extended post-race coverage from here in Richmond. Lethal Weapon 2 is next here on TNT. Wild night of racing on the 3/4 mile Richmond short track. Some bumping and banging along the way, and in the end, a slip up the racetrack sent Robbie Gordon from 3rd to 1st and on the way to his first ever NASCAR Busch Series victory. See you tomorrow night for the Cup Show.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.